All right, let's pop the hood and look at what makes Codex tick. Welcome to Section 3, the core concepts. I promise, if you get these few simple ideas, you'll unlock the full power of the platform.
And believe it or not, it's actually super simple. Everything you're going to see, everything you're going to do in Codex, it's all built on just these three things: folders, models, and items. That's it. Let's start with the model. This is kind of the secret sauce. The absolute best way to think of a model is as a blueprint or a template. It doesn't actually hold any of your data. Instead, it just defines the structure that your data has to follow. In other words, the model sets the rules. So, if the model is the blueprint, then the item is what you actually build with it. This is the other half of the magic. An item is the real thing you want to track. Like a specific project, a client, a support ticket, whatever it is. It's the actual data that fills in the blanks defined by the model.
Okay, this bike and blueprint analogy really makes it all click. Think about it. The model is the blueprint for a bike. It lays down the rules. It says every bike must have a name, a color, and a size. The item then is the actual bike you built. For example, a city bike that's black and a size medium. You can use that single blueprint to create thousands of different bikes, but they will all follow that same structure. So the main takeaway is super simple. The model is the structure and the item is the data.
So you might be wondering, how does a model actually define its structure? Well, it uses something we call attributes. Just think of these as the different fields you can add to your blueprint, like a text field for a name, a date field for a deadline, or maybe a number field for a budget. It's how you make sure you're capturing the right information every time. And there are all sorts of different attribute types you can use. A string is just for plain text, a date is for, well, a date. But check out this last one, an item attribute. This is the real game changer. This lets you create a direct link from one item to another. And that's how you build that powerful connected web of information we were talking about earlier. Your data stops being a simple list and starts becoming a network. So what's the big deal with all this model and item stuff? Well, the payoff is huge. First, you get consistency, because every item is forced to follow the same rules. You get clarity, because you always know exactly what information you're going to find. You can reuse a single model for thousands of different items. And maybe most importantly, this lets you scale. As your company grows, your data stays perfectly organized and predictable.